children could sprawl across her couch and smear cheese of dust on her throw pillows. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was surreal. I thought maybe this was some kind of test, a weird joke, a hidden camera moment. But no, Tom was dead serious. I asked him what he expected me to do in the meantime. He said something like, well, it would give you a chance to find something more appropriate for your stage of life. As if I were some poor misguided soul who didn't realize that living alone in peace was somehow a mistake. I asked him if he was offering to pay for this upgrade. He hesitated, then said, no, but I'm sure you can figure it out. You're resourceful. That is when the shift happened. Up until that point, I had been confused, then offended, then maybe a little stunned. But now I was furious because this man who married my mother and assumed he gained squatter's rights over my life, thought he could dictate how I lived. He thought he could shove his kids into my home and treat me like I was an afterthought. And the worst part, he did not even bother to sugarcoat it. He genuinely believed this was a reasonable thing to ask. So, I smiled, told him I'd think about it, and then decided it was time to teach dear Tom a lesson in boundaries and petty revenge. Step 1 of Operation, Not Your Babysitter, began with a vision, a very adult vision. I was not just going to reject Tom's ridiculous proposal. I was going to make it abundantly clear through design, energy, and absolute pettiness that my apartment was no place for children. Not now. Not ever. The second bedroom in my apartment was originally a flexible space, guest room, reading nook, maybe one day an office. Tom had clearly imagined it becoming a bunk bed kingdom where his sons could eat cereal on the floor and leave their socks in every corner. So, I redecorated, and not just passively, I went full transformation mode. I gutted the room completely. Out went the neutral tones, the soft gray comforter, the bland multi-purpose furniture. In came floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a yoga mat corner complete with scented oils and a Himalayan salt lamp, a dark green velvet chaise lounge under a brass reading lamp and a sleek black desk for my work-from-home days. The final touch was a full-wall mural, a moody forest scene with deep emerald trees and fog, sophisticated, tranquil, absolutely hostile to children. But I was not done. On one of the floating shelves, right at eye level, I placed what I call the conversation ender, a novelty adult item with packaging and branding so unambiguously 18+ that any responsible adult would immediately understand that this home was not intended for anyone under the age of 21, let alone 12. It was not obscene. It was tasteful, high-end, and designed to look like a piece of abstract decor, but with text that explicitly confirmed its purpose. And I made sure it was prominently displayed right between a hardback copy of The Art of War and a glass skull filled with lavender bath salts. I blocked Tom's number for a full week, not because I was afraid of confrontation, but because I wanted him to stew in that silence. I knew him well enough to know he'd be waiting for my reply like he was owed it, like I was just a tenant on his property. I let him marinate in that arrogance, picturing his smug little face, checking his messages, convinced I was just being dramatic and would come around. And then on a casual Wednesday morning, while sipping espresso from my beloved machine and enjoying the scent of eucalyptus from my diffuser, I unblocked his number and sent one text, "Hey." Gave it a lot of thought, but unfortunately my place won't work for minors due to safety concerns and legal liability. Sorry. I imagined him blinking at the message, rereading it like it was written in code. I had used the exact kind of professional tone that makes petty seem polite. It was a masterpiece of strategic deflection, and I knew it would hit him where it hurt, his ego. The silence didn't last long. Cue the guilt parade. My mother called 2 days later, voice dripping with carefully disguised disappointment.